What a beautiful African family. This is your main man, Theo VJ Wilson with African Diaspora News. And I got to tell you, last one's hired, first one's fired is finally hitting the media room. CBS is disbanding its race and culture unit. This means that the parts of the news that were dedicated to covering our stories, whether it be anything in the positive realms from like black candidates running, in the negative realms, police brutality, CBS said this team is not important any longer. Your black jobs are leaving. Remember all them black jobs? Trump was talking about the black jobs. We love the black jobs, don't we? Well, the atmosphere that his administration is creating in corporate America says we don't need anything DEI related. These black jobs are going away. See, what they do is they call it a restructuring and that your role is no longer necessary. So this is what the article says. Last week, Paramount began laying off about 1,000 US-based workers with plans to eliminate another 1,000 roles in the coming months. The 2,000 layoffs represent roughly 10% of the company's global workforce. In a memo to the employees, CEO David Ellison described the cuts as necessary to eliminate redundancies and phase out roles that are no longer aligned with our evolving priorities. Wow, your priorities were one thing and now they've evolved into another thing, and that thing don't include you, black folk. Damn. And if you recall, last month, NBC did the exact same thing. Remember when they also eliminated their diversity staff? NBC News eliminated its teams dedicated to covering issues affecting Black, Asian American, Latino, and LGBTQ plus groups as part of its layoffs of about 150 staffers on Wednesday. According to two sources familiar with the matter, a significant culling as the Peacock network separates from its sister news network, MSNBC. So again, we see a restructuring of the priorities of the network, and the priorities aren't the melanated people and the other folks that are deemed DEI. And you remember when Sister Joy Reid lost her job at MSNBC, right? And then Lester Holt stepped down, and then all of a sudden we see Gayle King going away. This is a large issue because, as you know, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that upwards of 300,000 Black women had lost their jobs earlier this year. And you got a situation where folks' jobs weren't even safe in the recent shutdown. They are saying no thank you to you, Black folks. And this to me says one thing, that they are willing to sacrifice 60 whole years of Black advancement into the integration of America for a bad and unfavorable political climate. At least that's what Larry Ellison feels, because Larry Ellison once again said that y'all are not a priority to us anymore, and so you got to go bye-bye. Black expendability and white separatism go hand in hand. And what I think is interesting is now we're going to see where those folks' priorities actually were, because there's a few companies on a smaller scale that are adapting their DEI programs, right? They're changing the names, they're rehiring the staff who was in the DEI departments to other places within the company, but they're not letting them go. And they're kind of disguising it. They go an underground railroad with their diversity programs. But those are not everybody. In fact, the largest entities are like, nah, it's just sayonara to y'all. We never really wanted you around in the first place. And that's really heavy to me, because what that puts into perspective is something I've said before: America giveth and America taketh away. And the fact that there's all this moral high ground that we thought was never going to go anywhere around civil rights, around diversity and inclusion, and staying true to the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King, that's all going now because of the fact that they feel that we're just not necessary to their evolving priorities. You know, one of our elders, not talked about as much as he need to. People used to think I was his son. I had to tell him that I'm not this guy's son. Dr. Amos Wilson, we just share a last name. But Amos Wilson theorized, and this was back in the 90s because he died in 95, that integration in America would only work in an expanding economy This was telling because what he said was that as long as there's an abundance of jobs and abundance of opportunity, and you have a situation where there's more than enough to go around, then they'll hire you, Black folks. Then they'll say you deserve to be a part of our team. But unless they're that rare group of folks who are actually 10 toes down committed to the project of having a diverse and inclusive America, and those folks do exist now, I want to give them their props, but they're a minority. The majority of what looks like the power stakeholders, the shareholders in America who are white in this country, are using the atmosphere provided by the Trump administration to let go of Black folks at the very highest levels. And this is something, this is a lesson that we cannot unlearn because it's really looking like that old axiom, do for self or die a slave, is the only way forward when it comes to securing a path to the future for Black Americans. I've said it before, I've said it again. Black nationalism is a response to white separatism. The separatism that whites have isn't always called that, but you see it in the evidence of where the shoe finally lands. And so independence and independent media, specifically in this field that we report on today, it's the only way to get the truth about what's going on with our people. And that's why African Diaspora News exists. So I've literally just made the case for y'all to download the app. Download the app because the platforms that you're watching this on may decide that we are expendable in due time. And we need to have a way to continue to get this very important news to y'all. It's $9.99 a month to download the app, just 13 cents a day. Y'all go ahead and follow my channel, Theo Cyrus Rising, here on YouTube. And join us next time where you joined us this time. My name is Theo E.J. Wilson with African Diaspora News. I'll holler back at you. Peace.